Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Bettor Sports Network Fantasy Alarm. Appreciate everyone coming in here on a Tuesday afternoon. Got Jon Impemba with me here. What's up, John?
Not too much, Dan. Another Tuesday, getting ready to talk about some baseball still going on. Some early looks at Tuesday lines. Should be a good day.
Yeah. We're gonna obviously take stock of week 2 and kind of look forward to week 3 later in the week. Thursday we'll do some Thursday night football picks and predictions, but Friday shows as always. We'll give out some actual game bets and props and really our firm leans, me and Howard Bender on that show. But yeah, I got John here today, so it's good to get another mind on some of these odds and early leans on some of these games. Interesting matchups. And yeah, John mentioned, so we do have a bunch of baseball games tonight, and we are not shying away from baseball just yet. So we'll give out some picks for Tuesday night slate. I think 15 games on the slate tonight, so enough to really dive into there. Got to start with this Nick Chubb injury, though, and kind of how it impacts, I guess, the Browns next week, but moving forward. But obviously, everyone knows what happened last night with the Nick Chubb injury, now out for the season. If you are a fantasy guy, definitely go check out the waiver wire article up on Fantasy Alarm right now. There's a Nick Chubb injury impact article, and maybe the Browns bring in a Kareem Hunt or someone down the line here. But definitely check out those articles for the fantasy, but also, betting impact just to see who they have. I want to start with that game, though, for week 3, because we got the Browns playing against the Titans this week, and the Browns favored by 3 points here, despite this injury, which is interesting. 40.5 is the over-under, which I'm not surprised at with the Nick Chubb injury definitely impacting the Browns' overall offense, but also you got a run-heavy team in Tennessee with Derrick Henry there. But I don't know, early vibes about the Nick Chubb injury impact, or just this Browns offense moving forward, especially with week 3 here against the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, the one thing you have to worry about is really, if you look at Cleveland's offense, the passing offense hasn't looked all that great with Deshaun Watson. And so far, Tennessee's had one of the better run defenses in the NFL. So while, Jerome Ford looked good last night, I don't know if he's going to be able to necessarily sustain that against the Titans. So you're going to put a lot of work on Deshaun Watson having to throw the football, which you can do against Tennessee. So it'll be interesting to see if, that mantle gets put on him and maybe he can kind of bounce back a little bit from his early season struggles. Or offensive line has not been very good. He's been sacked 9 times already through 2 weeks. But on the flip side, there's the Titans offense isn't all that great either. I mean, they have Derrick Henry, but their passing attack is very subpar. And I think the Browns defense is actually pretty good. They lost, last night, or the offense, struggled last night, but it wasn't really the defense. The Steelers scored on a strip sack turnover, there. So it wasn't really the Browns defense giving up all those points. So, I think I would lean the under probably in this game. And, Cleveland probably wins, I would assume. I'd probably give the 3 points, but, I think it's going to be a low-scoring contest between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean towards the under 2. I'd also lean towards Tennessee here, getting the 3 points. I mean, they've covered the first 2 weeks as 3-point underdogs. They barely lost against the Saints in week 1, and then they won in overtime last week against the Chargers. But their rush defense, the Titans, it was best in the league last year. It's really good again this season. The Browns without Chubb are really going to struggle on the ground, especially this week. All credit to Jerome Ford, putting up some good numbers in his absence last night. But I feel like, if the run game doesn't get going, it's going to put a lot of pressure and a lot of, playmaking responsibility on Deshaun Watson. And the Steelers, defense, give them credit for, they when they got to Watson, it kind of made him make some tougher throws and make throws on the run and all that. It did put the Browns offense kind of in a a weird spot there last night. I mean, probably a game they should have won. If Chubb's healthy, you probably think they win that. So, I'd probably lean on the Titans here. But, yeah, you mentioned that the Titans offense doesn't offer a lot of confidence either right now. So it's a tough one. But, the under, I'm not surprised this total's at 40.5. It might drop below 40 by the time we get to Sunday's game. All right, another big injury this week, obviously, is Saquon Barkley. Looking doubtful to play Thursday night. It's a quick turnaround. So this is the Thursday night matchup. We got the 49ers as 10.5-point favorites against the Giants there. 45 is the over-under. Again, I'm not surprised to see the 49ers as, 2-score favorites here over the Giants, especially with the Saquon injury. But the Giants offense, they came back against the Cardinals, but it was against the Cardinals that they did that. And before that, they were getting shut out for a good part of that game. So the 49ers defense might really, really frustrate this Giants offense without Saquon likely.
Yeah, listen, I thought it was surprising this morning. Supposedly they said they're not officially ruling him out for Thursday, and that the ankle responded well to treatment, and it's looking a lot better, and he's moving around a lot better, and yada yada yada. But it would have to really be some miracle to get him out there in a spot where I don't think many people were expecting the Giants to be competitive in this game. Anyways, we talked about this in preseason where the Giants win total was set at a pretty low number. And I thought maybe that was because of their schedule, but I marked down some games that I thought maybe they'd be able to win. This wasn't one of those games anyways. And then they haven't really looked all that great aside from a second half against a Cardinals team that we figure is going to be very bad. So, I don't have much hope for the Giants here. I don't think they really find themselves to be too competitive in this game.
Yeah, and to the spread there, the 10.5 spread, I wouldn't be scared away from taking the 49ers to cover that because they won easy, covered in week 1. Week 2, they probably would have done it unless Sean McVay didn't kick that last minute field goal to cover the spread.
But don't tell me the books aren't in on that one, right?
Right.
They showed the replay of the referee hurrying to set the ball, and then Stafford. It's like they were running the hurry up just to kick the field goal in a game that didn't matter. So, except for the books, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, they got word that more, money was on the 49ers in that game.
It's the only thing that makes sense. Under no reason whatsoever would they ever need to hurry up, spike, just to kick a field goal at the end of the game to make it a 4-point game. It can't be explained to me.
The only thing I can think of is that the Rams were actually just trying to kick a field goal and then maybe get a miraculous onside kick and then whatever. But
there was no time in the game.
I know.
It was literally impossible to happen. It just doesn't make any sense.
So yeah, interesting there. So that's Thursday night. So on Thursday's show, we'll be giving out some game picks and props for that game. James Grande back from having a new kid. He'll be back for Thursday's show for that one. We got Aaron Ross chiming in, by the way, on YouTube here saying, what's up? What's up, Aaron? Thanks for coming in here on a Tuesday. We'll get to some baseball picks in a little bit, but if you guys got any opinions, any comments on this week's NFL Week 3 lines, definitely hit us up here, or any baseball picks you got going for tonight. We'll definitely get to those soon here. All right, let's look at the next one here. Another interesting matchup, and this is the highest over-under this week, actually, at 54 between the Chargers and Vikings. Chargers, small favorites there, -1 on the spread. I find this interesting because we got 2 0-2 teams coming in here, and this is literally, loser 0-3. It's not looking good to make the postseason and actually be, contender. Right. Starts getting scary for either team if they lose, but a big one for both teams just to try to get a W on the season. But that 54 over-under, we should see plenty of offense in this one.
Yeah, I mean, definitely feel like points are the way to go here. One of the struggles for Minnesota this year has been the run game, but the Chargers continually have one of the worst run defenses in football. So we'll see if Alexander Mattison can get going for Minnesota. We don't know the status of Austin Eckler. They said that he's kind of expected still to be out. So undetermined amount of time. Josh Kelly didn't look any good, but obviously we saw that Philly ran all over Minnesota and had no resistance to that effect. So, yes, take the over, I would expect. Well, we assume you want to take the over. Sometimes when we're so sure about the over, these games tend to disappoint. Kansas City, Jacksonville last week felt that way, but yeah, I don't know which way to go with the spread. The fact that it's basically an even bet here, I would probably just bet the points.
Yeah, I'd probably lean towards the Chargers in this one. Because they lost by 2 against the Dolphins in week 1, but that was a game they could have won. And then they lost in overtime, as I mentioned, against the Titans last week, another game they could have won. They've been like right there. The Vikings too. I mean, they had like a late touchdown to make it close against the Eagles on Thursday night last week, but that was a much, the deficit was a lot bigger than what the final score read in that game. So I feel like the Chargers have been closer to getting that first win, and I feel like it'll come here against the Vikings team. That like we talked about this in the offseason, previewing all the teams and futures bets, and the Vikings were a team that just looked like they were going to regress from last year because I think they were 11-0 in one-score games last year, had that 13-4 record, but their point differential was way down compared to the other playoff teams.
So, and they didn't do anything to address their defense. So it just didn't make sense that they were going to be a good team this year.
Yeah. And I think the absence of Thielen in this offense is actually, it's bigger than you'd think because they have Hawkinson to step up, obviously Jordan Addison, but like having a reliable, number 2 option next to Justin Jefferson has been, I think, something that Kirk Cousins has missed.
I think it'd be good if they would play Addison more. I mean, they would play KJ Osborne over Addison. Addison's still seeing 50, 60% of the snaps. So why is he not out there for 80? What's the point? Yeah. At this point, he's certainly proven that he's capable of producing at an NFL level, found the end zone in both games, he's top target guy. But, they're running Osborne out there over him in some of these games here. And they don't really run Hawkinson in those short underneath routes that you saw Thielen. They have Hawkinson usually running seams in middle of the field posts. So, at least put Addison out there than Osborne, who was more of an outside guy. I think that would help him a little bit.
Yeah. Mulroyd commenting on YouTube here saying, should we just hammer the Niners spread now before it moves more? Actually looking now, it has moved in the Giants direction just a little bit. It's now at -10 is the spread. I think 10 is a good number to get it at. The 10.5 makes, it's obviously they need to win by more than a touchdown, a field goal there. Mm-hmm. The other thing to just look at for this matchup is that late in the game, Daniel Jones can be making plays with his legs and get a late score to cover. Wouldn't be surprised at that, but right. I do think early leans. I mean, on Thursday show we'll give out some picks, but early, I would take the 49ers minus the 10. I like that more, obviously, than 10.5. But I mean, it's hard to see how the Giants are going to match up against this 49ers defense after they really struggled against the Cardinals defense for most of it last week. Obviously got shut out by the Cowboys defense in week 1. So, I would lean towards the 49ers. We'll see if we get more info on this Barkley injury, but I feel like he's going to be limited either way.
I can't imagine he's a full go. And then if he is, it's the 49ers. Is he going to stay healthy the entire game? That's going to be a tough game for him.
Yeah. All right. Next game we'll break down here is for week 3, by the way. I got to have, we got Jon Impemba on, so I got to talk Patriots. See where he's feeling on these Patriots.
We don't have to talk Patriots.
Well, we're going to talk about them.
Okay.
The Patriots -3 here against the Jets. 36.5 is the over-under. This is the lowest total on the game board for week 3. But the Patriots 3-point favorites on the road against the Jets. I don't know. How you feeling about this? Do you think they can, they're 0-2. Do you think they can get that first win here?
If Bill Belichick loses to Zach Wilson, there's a chance he might get fired. And I say that facetiously, but maybe not. The defense
put it past Robert Kraft.
The defense has been good for New England. I'm not going to necessarily hold that against them. They've come up. They've made plays. They've held teams to field goals, and they could have given up touchdowns. And the offense just hasn't been able to consistently deliver. There's times where they run the hurry up, and Mac Jones drives them all the way down the field, and bing, 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 and they're making plays, and boom, touchdown. You're like, all right, that's what an NFL offense looks like. And then they go down, and they get into these I don't know if it's just poor execution. Obviously, some of it is, or like bad play calling, but they'll have a run where they get stopped, and now it's 2nd and 8. And then they run like a wide receiver screen that gets blown up, and now it's like 3rd and 11. And I'm like, why are you putting yourself in these like situations where instead of driving down the field, if you fail at running the ball on first down, you should be looking to push the ball down not a little bit more to like shorten the field that you have to gain. And it just feels like they set themselves up for these 3rd and longs a lot of times. And, they're just not capitalizing on some of the plays. And then once again, the offensive line has been trouble. I can't even Calvin Anderson was the right tackle on Sunday night, and it was just an absolute turnstile for whoever the end there was for Miami with the blonde hair. That guy was just getting by all night. The offensive line problem for New England needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I forget his name, but yeah, the Dolphins.
I've never heard of that guy in my entire
outside
life.
linebacker.
He plays special teams. Like, it looks like Clay Matthews out there right now. What do you mean? Like, just constantly getting by the right tackle and getting in on Mac Jones. So, when he has time, and that's fine, but they don't have a lot of great skill position players. So, but they have to beat the Jets. They have to beat the Jets. If Zach Wilson beats New England, that team light it on fire. Just, it's over. Going 0-3. This was the one game on the first 4 that everybody figured they could win, potentially anyways. But, I don't know.
Either way, I'm leaning towards the under here. I know it's a low total at 36.5, but I said this last week when I picked, gave out the under for Jets Cowboys, finished 2 points over, unfortunately, but it's the same vibes here. And that's that if the Jets want to win games, they need their defense to show up. And they did a decent job against the Cowboys offense last week. It was more the Jets offense kind of giving the Cowboys some shorter fields to get a couple field goals and take advantage. But the Jets defense is still legit. And as you were going through with the Patriots offensive, worries and woes, I do think the Jets defense will have do some damage here. And then the other side, it's Zach Wilson. Just don't have a lot of confidence in him. And the Patriots defense is legit too. So,
I did see a heavy run attack. I mean, Raheem Mostert obviously had that big run at the end of that game there for the touchdown. Breece Hall was, very upset with getting just 4 carries last week against Dallas. So maybe you see Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall really be the focal point of the Jets attack this week. But I don't know.
Yeah, in a closer game, which this one should be than what they just played against Dallas, you'd think the Jets would lean on Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook more. I'm looking at the box score. They combined for 16 rushing yards last week on just 8 rushing attempts between the two of them. So, yeah, they got to get, between them at least 20 carries. We by the way, looking it's Andrew Van Ginkel was the guy that was ripping through the Patriots line.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I never heard of this guy in my life. 5th round pick in the 2019 draft. Now that I'm looking at him, I mean, it said he only had 1 sack. I would love to see what his pressure numbers were. I mean, he was all over Mac Jones in that game. I've never seen. Our right tackle should be out of football at this point. That was so embarrassing to see.
He's the next Clay Matthews. I mean, what can you say?
Again, he was Jalen Phillips' injury forces Andrew Van Ginkel to edge, so he wasn't even supposed to be there, and that guy just had the game of his life. So,
Dylan Fink commenting here on YouTube chat asking if we're answering any fantasy questions right now. We're not. This is mostly a betting show, but definitely hit us up in the Discord, Fantasy on Discord. You can ask some fantasy questions there, or any of the live streams we got going on later today, tomorrow, or go check out the Alarm Fantasy Football Show with Howard and Andrew Cooper. That was earlier today. The Lightning Round Fantasy Football Show. Those guys gave out a lot of, waiver questions, lineup advice, and all that stuff. So those are more fantasy shows. We're focused on the betting side of things. Kyle Murphy commenting here on YouTube saying, does the leash come off of Breece Hall this week? I mean, he was explosive in week 1 when he was given the carries, and a lot more explosive looking than Dalvin Cook. You'd think they would try to get him more touches now, especially now that we're 3 weeks into the season. Like, all right, maybe you give him a couple weeks to shake some rust off coming off the injury, but it's him and Garrett Wilson as the most talented guys right now in that offense. I know Dalvin Cook's still there, but he hasn't looked explosive. He's getting tackled behind the line, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what we have for a rushing prop here for that game too. Maybe they don't have anything out yet, obviously, just the one Thursday game.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see if they do allow him to, especially since he made it known of his displeasure with the way his usage was, that they could maybe let him off the leash a little bit for sure.
Yeah. All right. Next game we'll preview here. Last one before we get to some baseball picks. The biggest spread of this week, this weekend, is the Bears Chiefs game. We got the Chiefs as 13-point favorites for this one. 48 is the over-under. A lot of bad vibes with the Bears and Justin Fields right now. I know if you're a Bears fan, there's like some people saying they got to move on from him already. I think it's a little early for that, but 13-point spread is big. I don't know. Any early advice here? Or any early leans for this game?
I mean, listen, they just fired Luke Getsy, so new offensive coordinator now, going to be calling plays for Chicago. It's kind of interesting that it took a year and a half. Is all they get? Not even a year and a half. Luke Getsy was the offensive coordinator last year, and then they fired him a couple games into this season. So I'm curious to see the new direction now that offense goes. So
who's calling plays now?
I'm not even sure. I don't. That's what I just saw on Twitter that they relieved him of his play calling duties. So what does the new offense look? It can't.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an offensive play calling problem. I mean, in week 1, we saw Chase Claypool not even trying while he was out there. Offensive line is still being a problem for them. So I'm unsure of what improvements a new play caller could be bring about. It feels like he was kind of scapegoated a little bit there because you just had a quarterback last year set the NFL record for rushing. So I don't know. I'm curious how it plays. I would still take the Chiefs, though. I mean, again, we saw two games now. Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield, quarterbacks that we didn't really consider to be anything above average at best. Maybe we were interested to see what Love could be. We knew what Baker Mayfield could be. And they just lit up the Bears defense in back-to-back weeks. 3 passing touchdowns from Jordan Love in week 1. And then in week 2, Baker Mayfield completing 75% of his throws for 300-plus yards and a touchdown there for him. So it could have been 2 touchdowns. We had a guy get knocked out at the 1. So, the defense is the bigger problem for me than Chicago than the offense. So I'd be willing to take the points with KC here. I think they just run all over them.
Yeah, I'd actually lean towards the Bears because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the Mahomes as like a huge favorite, which is like he's not good against the spread. The Chiefs have not been good as like bigger favorites. They're really good against the spread when they're favored by like 3 points or less or underdogs. But when they're favored by, I think it's like a full touchdown or more, especially double digits, they're just not as good against the spread, whether it be, having the lead in hand and allowing a late score or just maybe underperforming just a little bit. But yeah, we got to dive more into just how this Bears offense might look with a new play caller. But could have some wrinkles in there.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been released already who's taking over for play calling duties. I just didn't look. All right, let's see here. Bears OC. See what the Twitter or what X is telling me here. They decided to part ways. They're in the process of finding his replacement. Okay. So nothing of nothing of release yet here.
Aaron Ross chiming in here on YouTube saying, asking about Debo for Thursday night. Debo over 53.5 receiving yards is a prop he's asking about. Listen, I was just looking at his stats there. He's gone over this in both games so far, so I would lean towards the yes. I would rather take like a rushing plus receiving yards prop for Debo because he's a guy, especially if the game is in hand against the Giants, I could see him not getting as many targets, not receiving wise, but rushing wise, they could still feed him.
I'd be interested to see if, what kind of defense the Giants play. Howard Bender was 100% in on Deebo Samuel, and obviously Bender does the coaching systems articles for our fantasy football draft guide, and he was like, Deebo Samuel against zone defense is an absolute menace. So that's why he liked Deebo last week in that spot. In their matchup against the Rams. And sure enough, Deebo went off. So if we're looking at another zone defensive scheme by the Giants, then I would consider Deebo over the 53.5. If they don't play a zone, if they're more of a man or a cover two, maybe we look elsewhere. But that's take a look at the defensive system that the Giants put in place. So I want to say we do have some breaking news here. According to Schefter, Kareem Hunt is in the building in Cleveland. So that was obviously the natural progression, it felt like. So no official signing announcement yet, but the fact that he's already there makes it seem more than likely he'll be signing, I would imagine, with Cleveland.
That Jerome Ford waiver wire hype lasted less than a day, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, listen, last night they said all the right things. Jerome Ford is our starting running back, blah, 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 blah. But we'll see what happens when Kareem Hunt gets back in there. Beneficial for him. He doesn't need to learn a new system. He just knows the system, but he hasn't had a training camp. Don't know what his offseason conditioning has been like. So, I wouldn't expect anything big from Kareem Hunt out of the gate. So maybe for this week, Jerome Ford's still your number one guy. But, moving forward, we'll see. And again, we haven't even gotten an official signing announcement yet for Kareem Hunt, but just the fact that he's already in the building, it makes it seem pretty natural that's going to be the direction they go.
Again, go check out Andrew Cooper's breakdown of the Nick Chubb injury impact on betting, on fantasy. He breaks down a lot of, all right, next guy up for the Browns, and he threw in Kareem Hunt in there as if they sign him, what can we expect from this backfield? And he said, Ford can still be, the early down, rusher, but Kareem Hunt will be out there on third downs and passing plays because, that's what he did with the Browns when Chubb was there. He was out there on passing downs a lot as the better, pass catcher of the two. So I could see that split being the case, especially early on until, we get Kareem Hunt, in game shape and all that stuff. But it'll be interesting to see how, if he signs there, obviously this is all speculative, but if he does sign there, late in the week, some props for this backfield, what we see, Jerome Ford's rushing prop as, what we see Kareem Hunt's. If it's low, I'd consider taking the over on Kareem Hunt's receiving yards, because I could see him being used as that third down guy and being a safety valve for Deshaun Watson. So, all right, interesting there. We'll definitely stay updated on that news as it comes in. All right, let's. By the way, again, the waiver wire article over on Fantasy Alarm breaks down a lot of those guys. So if you are a fantasy guy, definitely go check out that article over on Fantasy Alarm right now. Obviously, the Nick Chubb injury article, injury report overall for Week 3 with the Saquon injury. Definitely just some good updates on all those situations as we're getting closer. Week 3 starts up in 2 days here on Thursday, so we got to get these fantasy lineups in, get your bets in, and all that. All right, let's turn our attention to baseball tonight. Some baseball picks for Tuesday night. Bunch of good games, good matchups here. What's your best bet for tonight, John?
Listen, I went on a pretty lengthy rant the last time this guy had pitched, and that's Jose Urena. We're getting plus 100 again on the 2.5 earned runs here, so let's let it ride. It took a little longer than I would have expected it to in that last game, but the Twins did not let us down. They eventually got to Urena. He allowed 6. So this night we have the Washington Nationals here, obviously a lesser offense, but I'm still a believer in Urena not being a major league caliber pitcher. So give me the over 2.5 earned for even money this evening.
Yeah, I can't knock that at all. I mean, again, we've said
hasn't had an ERA under 5 since 2018. So let's ride.
Yeah, we say this when there's like the earned runs prop at 2.5. It's up there for a reason, and especially for Urena. I think I forget who it was. They commented yesterday saying that they hit on Jorge Polanco's prop against Urena last week. I think it was when you were on the show, and he threw that out, and I think he had a perfect BVP against Jose Urena. So
he's like 7 for 7.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good to fade Urena whenever he's on the slate.
So he's just such a bad pitcher, and I get it. He had like 4 shutout innings, 5 shutout innings going. I'm like, really? Like, this is what we're getting, and then that inning came to give like 3 home runs. Like, all right, this is the guy I know, and it was bound to happen. So, we're going again plus 100. I'll take even money on betting against Urena every day.
Yeah, I'm going to the Mariners Athletics under 7.5 is my best bet. Minus 115 on DraftKings. It was a 5-0 final against these teams last night, and I see something similar. Mariners win 5-0 last night. Luis Castillo on the mound for Seattle. He's got a 2.32 ERA over his last 5 starts. Coming into tonight, some impressive starts against the Rays and the Angels in his last 2 outings. I think he keeps it going because the A's have been bad against righties all season, but over the past week, 264 WOBA, 199 team batting average, 30% strikeout rate versus righties. And the Mariners have a lot of their top bullpen arms to kind of finish it off with Castillo. They're right in the thick of this AL wildcard race, so they're not going to mess around. And I think that the pitching for the Mariners definitely holds down the A's offense. And the other side, it's Paul Blackburn on the mound for the A's. He's been decent lately, 3.24 ERA since the beginning of August. He did allow 4 runs on the road to Houston his last start, but again, that's Houston on the road. The Seattle offense, actually even worse than the A's against right-handed pitching over the past week, 251 WOBA, 31% strikeout rate in that split. So I think this is going to be another low-scoring game, just like we saw last night from these teams. So take the under 7.5.
Yeah, listen, over on BK Sportsbook, under 2.5 earned runs for Paul Blackburn's minus 165.
Oh, wow.
And the earned run line for Luis Castillo is set at 1.5. So usually, again, those lines are set at 2.5 for everybody, and then juice one way or the other, unless it's like the Braves and Coors, and you're getting like a 3.5. And Castillo is plus 110 under 1.5 tonight. Would you flirt with that?
I would, honestly. Yeah. I mean, listen, last night was Brian Wu threw 5 shutout innings against them. I think Castillo is a better pitcher than Wu. And the A's offense has not been good against right-handed pitching. I would also, didn't throw it out here, but just looking at those earned run props you just gave out, I'd probably look at the first 5 under for this game too, if I think both pitchers are going to hold it down. Yeah,
I like that one. Correlation play with my Urania 2.5. I also like the Nationals team total over 4.5 runs tonight. Again, I know Washington's offense certainly has some things to be desired here at this point, but I'm just betting against a bad pitcher. It's really what it is. It's not terrible odds to take the over 4.5. I think it was minus 120 on the over. I'll pull it up real quickly here. I thought I had it written down, but I think it's still a good just to attack Urania here and kind of correlate.
I'm seeing minus 125 on DraftKings to the over there.
Okay, yeah, minus 1. You said right. So over 4.5 and minus 125. Just a play that I'm in on again. I'll wait till Urania proves me wrong, basically, at this point.
I'm with you. I looked at this game, over 9.5 for the full game because it's Jackson Rutledge on the mound for Washington. Was not sharp in his first start. Young guy, but don't have a ton of faith in the White Sox offense side of things. But I do think the Nats should get to Urania overall. So that's the side I feel more confident in for that game.
And you can get tonight if you do some individual player props. Again, Vegas isn't really in on a lot of these Nationals hitters. You can get some decent plus money on like total bases and things like that. RBI props on some of these Nats hitters tonight. So if you want to throw some darts and ride Nats with me here, some individual player props on their offensive hitters, you can maybe make a little money tonight.
There you go. All right, another pick I got. I'm going with the over in the Mets-Marlins game tonight. Over 8, minus 110 on FanDuel. Joey Lucchesi on the mound for New York. He's got a pretty good 2.83 ERA through 7 starts this year, but He also has a 5.71 expected ERA and a 4.49 FIP. He's got a high left on base rate, a low BABIP. Just some negative regression is coming. This is a guy that had a 4.40 something ERA last year as a starter, and he's been pitching over his head this year. The Marlins offense has been really good against left-handed pitching over the past 2 weeks. A top 10 offense in that split. So I do think they get to Lucchesi on that side. And then the other side, it's Braxton Garrett, who has been solid again, just kind of look like Lucchesi, a 2.60 ERA over his last 5 starts, but also has gotten lucky, a 4.13 FIP in this past month over this stretch. So I think he's also bound for aggression. He's had some shakier outings previously. And I think against a Mets lineup that, similar to the Marlins, hits lefties well, a top 5 offense in a lot of different splits against left-handed pitching over the past month since the start of September. So give me the over in this game, sneaky over between the Mets and Marlins.
Yeah, I like it. Again, I was looking at some of that earlier. Miami, when they had Jorge Soler, he was obviously their big bopper against lefties, but they have a lot of guys in that lineup still that do some damage. So I definitely think that that's a pretty strong play. I was looking when I was building some DFS lineups. I was kind of seeing maybe where we could go some early slate games with that one. So I like it.
That's an early 6:40 Eastern start.
Get a little like mini slate going on there to get some action. A guy that I played against last time and I got 5 innings of no-hit baseball shoved down my throat was Hunter Brown, but I'm going to go back to the well with a much better team this time with Baltimore Orioles. So we're going to go Hunter Brown over the 2.5 earned runs here this evening.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I looked at the over in this game overall too, so we're correlating on some of these. But I do like your Hunter Brown. Yeah, he's not gonna. I think we were on the show last week when I think we both kind of bet against Hunter Brown.
Yeah, I think it was the DFS show you and I did. We're like, all the numbers are pretty bad. Maybe I think it was Oakland's like maybe Oakland, you can ride with us here. And then no, Oakland got no hit over 78 pitches. They took him out of that game on a no-nos with 78 pitches. But I'm just expecting Baltimore to be better. So give me the over 2.5 here.
Yeah, listen, shout out to Baltimore because on yesterday's show, I gave out the Astros first 5 innings, thinking that, all right, the Baltimore Orioles just clinched a playoff spot for the first time since 2016. I thought they'd come out some, sluggish bats early on, maybe some drinks on the overnight flight, but they had the lead, I think, after 5 and ended up putting up runs. So, yeah, the offense is not quieted down. Despite going on the road here to Houston. So I like that call. All right, my next pick here. You also have the Orioles team total, right?
Yeah.
Over. Okay.
Yeah, Orioles team total over 4.5. You're getting plus 110 on that tonight. So
yeah.
Again, I feel pretty good about that matchup here tonight for Baltimore.
All right, my last pick. I'm going with Logan Allen over 4.5 strikeouts. He's been over this 5+ strikeouts in 5 of his last 6 starts coming into tonight. Has better strikeout numbers on the road this year, 25% strikeout rate on the road compared to 19% strikeout rate at home, weirdly enough. But he's also had 5+ Ks in 5 of his last 7 road starts coming into tonight. He's faced the Royals twice already this year, had 5 strikeouts in both, so that's a good track record for this. But the Royals offense versus left-handed pitching have struggled against lefties. 27% strikeout rate, also a bad 257 WOBA in this stretch versus lefties. And each of the last 3 left-handed starters against the Royals have 5 or more strikeouts. So I think Logan Allen goes over. You get plus odds, plus 100 on BetMGM to go over here.
No arguments here. As much as I do like Bobby Witt Jr., the rest of that lineup certainly leaves something to be desired. So
Bobby Witt could hit a home run as long as they get 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, he would be the one to do it. He's hitting lefties really well, but the rest of that lineup is starting to regress. So
yeah. All right, so those are some betting picks for tonight's slate. And if you haven't already, go check out the Fantasy Alarm All-Pro subscription. You get a free 7-day trial for the All-Pro subscription right now. You can check out DFS picks for baseball tonight. but also DFS content, NFL picks for week 3 coming up, NFL week 3. And so, jump on it now. You go to fantasyalarm.com/NFL to get that all pro subscription, 7-day free trial. All right, let's get to some home run predictions for tonight to wrap up the show. Let's get to our daily dingers.
Now that's a dinger.
All right, who you got going yard?
Yeah, I'm going to go Lane Thomas here, plus 550. We're just going to attack Jose Urania, is allowing a 712 slugging percentage to right-handed hitters this year. I know that Thomas, split side, much better against lefties than righties, but still 16 of his homers against right-handed pitching, so certainly can still go deep. And again, a 712 slugging is just, it's absurd. He's at a 10 ERA. It's allowing 4.7 home runs per 9 to right-handed hitters. Why is this man a plus money 2.5 earn? I don't know. He's got a 10 FIP. I don't get it. Anyway, so yeah, Thomas at plus 550 for the homer tonight.
He's got a 10.
How do you have a 10 FIP in pitch in baseball? What are we doing? And that's not even like a sign of like his ERA is 10. So it's just like in line. Like he's pitching to who he is. Bad. I don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah, he's on the White Sox, I guess, for a reason, because they don't care, obviously.
So what is Vegas doing? I don't know. All right.
It's free money, dude.
They're
Don't complain.
supposed to be the smartest people in the room, but I feel like they're giving us free play here.
Jump on it. I'm going Xander Bogaerts plus 750 on DraftKings. He's hitting, he's on fire right now. 458 batting average, 780 slug over the past 15 games. That's 3 home runs in these past 15 as well. He's got better average and power numbers at home this year than on the road. 14 of his 18 home runs have come against right-handed pitching, and he's got righty Ryan Feltner on the mound here for the Rockies, making his first appearance in 4 months since he cracked his skull, actually, in a start back in May. But he has a 5.86 ERA this season before he went out, and this is his first start back again since coming off that IL. He's probably going to be limited, but then that means we have the Colorado bullpen behind him, which has a 6.38 ERA in the month of September. So Bogaerts is hitting really well right now. I think he can go deep here. Plus 750 is crazy odds.
Yeah, that's a high number, but like you said, a great payoff. Obviously Bogaerts at this point in his career isn't considered, a traditional power hitter, more of a gap doubles hitter. So You're going to get the favorable home run odds, but if it's the right matchup and current form, he certainly is capable of hitting home runs still. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and I didn't give this out as a bet, but because I'm going with Bogaerts as a home run call, but you can look at his other props, total bases, hits, runs, RBIs. I think he could go over a couple of these tonight. Hopefully they all come on a home run, but we'll see.
What do you think of the Kyle Schwarber homer yesterday, hitting the ball out of the ballpark in Atlanta? I don't know how that man has so much power.
He's unreal. He gets his weight behind it, and he just launches.
Just crazy home run.
Yeah, he's been crushing it. I saw a stat where I think whether it happened last night or his next run scored or something, he's gonna have 45, at least 45 home runs, 100 runs, 100 RBIs, for only the second or third player ever in Phillies history. Yeah, he's on a roll. So yeah, there we go. Some home run calls for tonight. Definitely go watch back some of our early leans on NFL Week 3 lines and odds for this upcoming games. Gave out some betting picks as well if you missed that, but go back and watch all that. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern here on the Bettor Sports Betting Show. Coming up after us, 5 p.m. Eastern, we got Jon Impemba and Colby Conway here for the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS live show to get your DFS lineups in for this Tuesday night. Then 6 p.m. Eastern tonight after them, Alarm Fantasy Baseball podcast with Matt Sells and Colby Conway. So stay tuned here the rest of the night. Get some baseball vibes in as you're putting your fantasy football waiver picks in as well. All right. Thanks for tuning in here on a Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. Appreciate everyone jumping in here, and good luck with all your bets and picks tonight. Later.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.